Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, guests and speakers. Welcome to the fifth Hazel webinar, the last in our current series, Hydrogen-Enabled Zero-Emission Supply Chains. Today's webinar is Marketable Hydrogen Innovations, Innovation and Entrepreneurship. How can we utilise innovation to drive the hydrogen agenda across Europe? I'm Paul McCormack. I'm the Innovation Manager in Belfast Metropolitan College in Northern Ireland. I'm also the Project Coordinator on GenComm, Generating Energy Secure Communities, utilising the hydrogen as that energy catalyst. It's funded through the Interreg Northwest Europe project, and we're involved in that and a number of other hydrogen projects, including Hydrogen Mobility Ireland, Hydrogen Ireland, and the Hazel series of projects. The agenda today is myself doing introductions. Diana Lykar, Head of Energy Department, IECE North Macedonia, will talk about Innovation Foundations. Matthew Murray, the Programme Director, Interreg Northwest Europe, will talk about Green Hydrogen Northwest Europe. Dr. Ross Ghazi from Pure Energy Centre will talk about Bio2H2, and Professor Blas Lajkozar from the Chemistry Institute in Slovenia will talk about catalytic hydrogen production processes from liquid carbon and nitrogen-based hydrogen carriers. During the event, during the speakers, we will have questions and answers after each session in order to keep people engaged. All of our webinars want to engage with the audience, and we want to integrate with the audience to make sure that we get as much information from you as we provide. And that's why we like to keep the talks 15 minutes with a Q&A, then at the end. One of the best bits of news we've had lately, this is Dr. James Carton from Dublin City University, standing in front of the Catano hydrogen-powered bus that's on trials currently in Dublin. The first hydrogen bus on the road in Ireland on trials is in Dublin at the minute, and that's run through Hydrogen Mobility Ireland, with Dublin Bus, Bord Gáis, and a number of other different players looking at the opportunity for hydrogen providing public transport in Ireland. The Hazel-based seminars are Hydrogen-Enabled Zero-Emission Supply. It's looking at the four quadrants of hydrogen: production, sustainability, safety, applications and usage, and how we address those four quadrants to make sure we drive hydrogen as an energy catalyst to provide part of our energy solution, not just at the destination, but in order to enable the decarbonisation journey of the European energy route and how we are able to move that. Hydrogen is no longer an energy of the future. It's current, it's here, it's now, and as we speak, it's been integrated into our everyday lives. Today's seminar is looking, how do we integrate that faster? How do we raise the speed of introduction to make sure we're able to get there and make sure we achieve our targets? As Europe embarks on an economic recovery from COVID-19, it also presents a clear opportunity on that economic recovery to use a green recovery to make sure we have that just transition to a zero carbon economy. Hydrogen will play a pivotal role in this, and part of the work we're doing in Hazel and other partner projects, GenComm, Sea Fuel, Huge, and other Interreg projects, as well as Horizon funded projects, are looking at this and how we work as a unit to optimize the P2X options, all of the power to X options, utilizing hydrogen as that catalyst to achieve that zero carbon opportunity. The phrase we use in GenComm is smart hydrogen. How to use green hydrogen in a smart way, in smart functions in production, sustainability, safety, application and usage to meet our zero carbon targets. Our targets are 2030 and 2050, and also the Paris Agreement for climate change. How we can use hydrogen to reduce that zero carbon footprint and achieve that trajectory towards zero carbon emissions. Today's innovation presentation is looking at how we engage in innovation. How, as we drive hydrogen forward and costs for production, costs for electrolyzers that continue to fall and become more economical and bring it into more mainstream energy solutions compared to our fossil fuels. How can we look at reducing component capital costs, increase the efficiency of production, increase the performance of materials, and introduce innovation to reduce the volumeric density storage so we can make hydrogen easily transported and more opportunistic? And then how do we engage innovation to use that power to X? A massive scale up on research and innovation is needed to increase the efficiency and advance towards a hydrogen ecosystem, and at a scale that contributes and continues to meet the 2030 and 2050 climate and energy goals. That energy transition, as we move from our dependence on fossil fuels and using a lot of different energy carriers, hydrogen being one, but hydrogen is the central role. How do we use the different opportunities in hydrogen, not just green hydrogen? As we said, the green hydrogen is the destination, but on every step of that energy journey, how do we introduce innovation, introduce entrepreneurship to drive that opportunity to move forward? The integration of electricity, gas, and hydrogen grids is therefore beneficial for a well-functioning hydrogen economy and a hydrogen energy security. So how do we develop that? By using innovation as that catalyst to drive the innovation process, to empower companies to transfer and develop and utilize the machinery. So we avoid the stranded assets. How do we work with what's already there and build a new system to complement that? How do we inform industry, and how do we establish new innovation and values? And you'll hear from today's speakers, from Blas, from Ross, from Matthew, and from Diana, different opportunities happening across Europe and how those are addressed and how those help are going to meet the goals. As I said earlier, in the innovation pathway, we use the terminology P2X, power to what? We're looking at power to transport using hydrogen, power to industry, to green, especially in steel production, as we said in one of our earlier Hazel seminars, power to mobility, the bus trials that are currently taking place in Dublin and other mobility trials taking place all across Europe, power to heat, how do we decarbonise the heat network, power to gas grid injection to make sure we can introduce greater amounts of greener fuel into the natural gas network. How do we then also, using innovation and using the partners that are driving towards us, how do we optimize smart H2 commercially? The power to euro, or power to pound, or power to dollar. And then how do we develop additional valorization pathways and keep continuing the journey? It's a new and commercial technical journey utilizing smart H2 as that sustainable energy future for Europe. As part of our Hazel seminars, as we said, this is the fifth, deliberately timed to coincide with the European Green Deal, so that we put out our stage, we show all of what we're doing and link in with other partners across Europe to address the EU Green Deal calls that close in January. The EU Green Deal is a roadmap to transform the European energy system. We have partners involved in Hazel and GenComm and Hydrogen Ireland and Hydrogen Mobility Ireland that want to work with other partners, that want to be able to develop new solutions to meet that energy transition and be part of that EU recovery package. How we can allocate available resources to meet those energy sectors of clean energy, efficiency, and mobility. As I said at the start, it's great to get the audience on their feet, to get them engaged. We have a poll that we want to put to the audience, and we'll take 2 minutes now and ask you, the audience, to give us your thoughts. How can we best use innovation to drive the EU hydrogen evolution? Is it through production, cheaper, faster technologies? Is it number two, through sustainability, the integration of intermediary fuels on our decarbonisation journey, using methane and biomethane and other opportunities? Is it through applications and use, increased utilisation of existing assets? Is it through safety, by improving reliability, safety, and communicating the hydrogen storage comprehensively, making sure the public are informed? Is it all of the above, or is there another solution, another opportunity that we may not have captured that you are working on and you want to share with the audience? As we've said, that integration of communication between ourselves and you, the audience, is important, that we all learn through our webinars that they're multi-directional, so that the audience are able to work with the speakers, and the speakers then will refer to this and tailor their presentations to keep you engaged, to give you the information you require. So another minute, Matt, if you can give us your thoughts. Is it production as the best way to innovation to drive the EU hydrogen evolution? Is it sustainability, applications in use, safety, all of the above, or have you something else that you want to share? And please let us work with that. So another 30 seconds. And if you look at its applications in use, increased utilization of existing assets is at 14%. That's one of the highest. All of the above is the easiest answer. I suppose nobody's clicking at 68% there. And it probably is that. That's why Hazel is based on those four quadrants: production, sustainability, applications use, and safety. Those four quadrants are very important, and that's what we've based our Hazel project. Hazel is 16 different research and development projects driven by industry, led by industry, and working with industry to make sure that innovation is part of that hydrogen journey. So if we close the poll there now, we look at all of the above is 68%, and applications and use coming at 13%. So folks, thank you for that. But during the presentation, we have the chat function there on your right-hand side. Use it, pose questions so that we can inform and influence the shape of the presentations be given by the presenters. Also, all of today's presentations will be sent out after the event on the GenComm website. Recordings of the presentations, when they're edited, will be released next week. So anybody that's not able to attend today, you can send the presentations on to them. And that way we ensure our webinar has a longer shelf life than just the audience today, and it has an increased magnification of an audience.